God looks at you and says, you have violated every law I have ever given. You have broken every command. You have disdained me, disobeyed me, given my worship to others, even to yourself. You are guilty, guilty, guilty. And God's own justice demands that you die. But then God himself, in his love, becomes a man. He lives the perfect life that you did not live. And then on the cross, all your sin is placed upon him. And then all the punishment, all the wrath of God, all the holy anger of God against evil that should fall on you, falls on the substitute. The one standing in your place, Jesus Christ. He lived the life you couldn't live. He bore your sin. And then all the judgment that God's justice demanded be poured out on you, he absorbed it. He took it in. Do you remember when Jesus was on the cross? What was the last thing he said? It is finished. Right before, it is finished. It is finished. What did he mean? I've paid in full. I've paid it all. You and I have committed crimes against God, and we're in debt to God. And that debt is death. Jesus went to the cross. He bore our sin. He was crushed under the fierce judgment of God, because God is love and hates evil. He was crushed under all the judgment that should fall upon you and me. And when it was finished, Jesus goes, it's finished. I've paid in full. Do you know why I'm going to heaven? Because I believe in Jesus. But you know how it works? Jesus lived the perfect life I couldn't live, and he lived it as my substitute. He lived it for me. Isn't that amazing? He not only died for me, he lived for me. So he lived this perfect life as a man for me. And then he went to a tree for me. And he took, like taking off of me, all my sin, and it was placed on him. And then all the judgment of God that should have fallen on me now falls on him. And when he suffered everything that needed to be suffered, he cried out, it is finished. I've paid in full for Paul. And for every one of his people, he paid in full. And here's the amazing thing. The most amazing thing is that I am forgiven of all my sin because Jesus died under the penalties of my sin. But not only that, the moment I believe I'm pardoned of all my sin, but not only that, the moment I believe that perfect life that Jesus lived, I'm clothed in it. I had two problems. You know what those problems were? One, I couldn't live a life that was acceptable to God. But the other problem is, because I couldn't live a life that was acceptable to God, I was under the penalties of the law, which demanded my death. Jesus took care of both problems. He died under the penalties of the law for me, but he also lived for me. So now I'm free from the penalty because he paid the price, but now I'm also clothed in his perfect life. So I'm righteous before God. Do you see what I have?